Hi everyone, TM Baylor here, but you can call me Torin. For those of you that are new here, welcome, and if you aren't new here, welcome back. I'm an author of dark fantasy and horror, and I'm currently working on the first two books in my upcoming dark fantasy series called The Secrets of Veteran. Book 1, called A Forgotten Legend, is in the editing phases and set to be released in September, and Book 2 is in the drafting phases. Now, I'm planning on having 4 books total in the Secrets of Veteran series, and before I started writing this one, I also did write a fantasy duology that is currently unpublished, but I did write it. Due to that series and the one that I'm working on right now, I have some experience with writing a book series, and today's video will be all about how to write a book series in a clear, concise, and uncomplicated manner. Let's get into it. Alright, tip number 1 is plan. Now, if you've watched a lot of my other videos, you probably know I'm all for people doing whatever writing process works for them, regardless of how much or how little planning that actually entails. The one kind of exception that I have is when you're writing a series. Now, if you're not a heavy plotter, the idea of sitting down and planning it all out sounds excruciating to you, I'm sure. I myself am not a very big plotter. I fall right in between plotter and pantser. But when you're writing a series, I do recommend that you at least have some form of plan. Now, this doesn't have to be super detailed or in depth. Something as simple as just a few bullet points or just a few ideas for what the beginning, middle, and end of the series will be is super, super helpful. This will ensure you know where the series is going to end up, which is a really good thing to keep in mind for consistency, conciseness, and foreshadowing. And moving on to number 2, foreshadow your heart out. Now, one of my personal favorite things to do when I'm rereading a series that I've read before is try to catch all the foreshadowing in the earlier books. Most people will foreshadow things within the same book. For example, maybe a character mentions not liking the idea of leaving home, and ultimately leaving home is what leads to their demise. That is pretty good foreshadowing, but that's within the same book. But you can, and in my opinion, you should, also foreshadow to later books in the same series. These are a little harder to catch and a little harder to put into your books as well because you have to have a fairly fleshed out idea of where the story is going to go, but it's so worth it to see if your readers can pick up on all the little hints you left. Alright, number 3, make every detail count. Now, this is somewhat related to number 2 in a way. It serves a very similar purpose. In any books, especially if you overwrite, you want to tighten up the book as much as possible. The way I like to think of it, every detail matters. Every action your character does, every description, every word should move the plot, characters, or themes of your book forward. This is even more true in a series. With a series, readers are reading so many words that some things might seem insignificant to them, but they're actually foreshadowing or furthering the theme or a hint to the final book or something else entirely. The details matter. If you look through almost any series, you can find examples of this. For example, in the Hunger Games main trilogy, the first book opens with Prim screaming and saying that she's scared to be chosen in the Reaping and sentenced to what is basically going to be a gruesome death. In the third book, Prim dies. Prim was the catalyst of Katniss's struggle the entire series, and Prim was doomed from the very beginning. If you want your readers to be able to reread your books and find all the little hints and clues, the little Easter eggs, that kind of thing, making every detail matter is an amazing way to do that. Alright, number 4, make a series Bible. Now, this is one of my favorite tips of all time because I absolutely love putting all this effort into world building, character development, all that stuff. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I really, really like these things. And all of these plans, these character sheets, these world building sheets, all of that can be compiled to make a series Bible. Now, depending on the type of genre you're writing, your series Bible will include different things. I have a series Bible for The Secrets of Veteran that includes all of my character sheets, my map, brief descriptions of the architecture of each area, the types of magic that I have, and a list of every named character and basic information about them. I went more into detail on my character sheets on a video that I made on me and my friend's joint channel a while back, which is linked in the description below. The video is called How to Write Good Characters, but just to go over the basics really quickly, my character sheets include physical characteristics, so like eye color and hair color, height, skin tone, weight, age, any defining traits like scars or tattoos. I also include the class, the level of education, any special skills, occupation, and magical abilities, if any. The last thing on my character sheets are personal thoughts and feelings of my character, more internal characteristics, their worst traits, their best traits, their opinion of themselves, their greatest fears, their greatest strengths, and so on and so forth. I do character sheets for each main character and each important side character. I also include my maps and descriptions of each named place on my map within my series Bible. Creating a series Bible helps you make sure you don't have to sift through your previous books in your series for the eye color of a side character that was only mentioned once. It ensures everything stays consistent, from descriptions to characterizations. And on to the last tip of the day for writing a series, understand what type of series you're writing. Now, the way that I think of it, there are two main types of series out there. There are series that are basically interconnected standalones, so these ones follow one character or group of characters with plots that are more or less standalone per book. There may still be character growth that extends to the next book, but it's overall a never-ending saga of day-to-day life, whatever that means for your character. These types of series can go on indefinitely, as long as you have a character to follow. They are very character-driven series, and that's how I like to think of them, the character-driven series. The second type is what most people think of when they say that they're writing a series. These are plot-driven series, at least the way I think of it. They follow one character or group of characters with an overarching plot or goal that spans every book in the series. For example, going back to the example of the Hunger Games from earlier, the Hunger Games is a plot-driven series to taking down the Capitol and making it a better place for the people from the districts, ending the wealth equality, all of that. Their goal is to take down the corrupt government. The Lord of the Rings is another super good example of this. The overarching goal of the entire series is to destroy the One Ring. With plot-driven series, each book should show some progress towards the end goal of the overarching plot, but the goal hasn't been completed, at least not until the last book. They typically also have a set amount of books that can reasonably be written about the overarching plot. Once the plot is done, it's done. There's not many places to go from there. Understanding which type of series you're writing will help you decide how to plan out the series and what needs to be done in each book. It's the single biggest tip I have for writing a series. Alright, that's all I've got for you today. If you liked this video, please be sure to like and subscribe so we can stay in the same little corner of the internet together. If you're interested in learning more about The Secrets of Eteryn and the first book, A Forgotten Legend, all of my other platforms have more information and more content from me. They're all linked in the description below. The best way to keep in loop with all the exciting happenings is by signing up for my newsletter on my website, which is also in the description. Until next week, and happy writing.